One listing a day, better pictures, more SEO, stuff keywords in there, hop on the latest trends, don't show people your product and hide it like it's some kind of sacred thing. This is all stuff that you've probably heard when you look up how to sell digital products online. And that's because there's been this kind of over-reliance that's been built on quick hacks, band-aid fixes, relying on things like Etsy or Gumroad to be able to sell your product for you. And people aren't getting the real answer to how to sell digital products online. And I get it. It sounds really easy for you to just take a product, slap it up somewhere, and then sell it. But in reality, there are some major flaws with relying on marketplaces like Etsy when it comes to selling digital products. And so after watching like 73 videos of how to be able to get rich quick with Etsy, I've pointed out 3 major flaws with a lot of these strategies that are here. And in today's video, we're going to crush those flaws and show you what you can do to overcome them and not have to rely on Etsy to sell your digital product. Hey everybody, if you don't know who I am, my name's Doug and my wife Haley and I run a 7-figure digital products business. So when we talk about stuff like this, we kind of know what we're doing. But before we get started, if you're looking to take steps now to start an online business, go check out down in the description below our free 5-day challenge, 0 to 100K in 12 months or less with digital products. I promise it's totally worth it. Everybody loves the value that's in there. And enough of that, let's go ahead and jump into the video. Okay, so there's 3 major flaws that I see kind of all over the internet when it comes to selling digital products online, and whether that's on a marketplace or Shopify or whatever it might be. These are those 3 things. Okay, the first thing is lead flow, which basically just means how many people come and see your digital product. The second thing is price competition, because pricing is generally thought of as like a defining factor in decision making when people buy a digital product. And the third thing is scalability, which is almost something nobody ever talks about. So let's go ahead and start with lead flow. Okay, one of the reasons why people run to places like Etsy so often is because Etsy is a marketplace, because Etsy is a search engine. And I get that. Lots of people flock to search engines, just like Amazon even, okay? It is a viable source of traffic. But the thing is that just because you list there doesn't mean you're going to get a lick of that traffic. Okay, you have to compete in the search engine results pages for you to even see a portion of the traffic that's there. So the search engine, again, in whatever marketplace it is that you're on, is what's controlling the lead flow. And you'll never know exactly with a 100% accuracy how to work that search engine. I used to actually work in SEO. My job was to help people rank in Google, and I was really good at it. But even if you're really good at it, even if you think you're the best at it, you will never have 100% control over organic lead flow in a marketplace. And that's because you can't just add more SEO. It doesn't work that way. You can't just flip a switch or turn a knob and make more SEO. Like I've heard people say that, like, oh, you just need to SEO it more. Like, that's not really how it works, okay? It's a long-term game and a long-term plan, and there are other various factors in different types of marketplaces that are going to affect whether you rank or not. So what that means is that there's no real input to get your output. Now, if you want to run ads, go ahead and run ads. But if you're here watching this video, you probably don't have the capital to run ads. So the point being with that first flaw of the system is that if you're just going to rely on a marketplace, if you're just going to rely on an algorithm, you don't have full control over that algorithm. It can change at any time, and you don't really know what factor with 100% accuracy, what's going to get you to rank. Now, let's say that maybe you can rank and you can kind of try to figure out lead flow. That's fine. Then what happens is that as you're selling your digital products and you're trying to compete, you start to realize it's kind of steep competition when it comes to pricing. Digital products are known to be historically low priced. I mean, I've seen some in the like $1 or $2 prices. And when people are trying to really lower their price to try to get more sales, I've seen some under $1, which like makes no sense to me. Because when you sell on a marketplace, there's a certain percentage that goes to those marketplaces. So let's step back from digital products for a second and just think about why people buy products in general, okay? People buy products because there's a certain aspect that they like about it. Sometimes it's like brand related, sometimes it's quality related, but with a lot of places like Walmart, for example, Walmart's a great example of price competitiveness. The way they get people to shop there is through price. And it's the same thing with a lot of the top products on digital marketplaces, is that in order to get more sales, because their products are so similar, because there's nothing really to help them stand out, they have to be price competitive. And so they keep dropping the price lower, 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 which means lower, lower, lower return. Now, the way to be able to get around that, to not be price competitive, is to have serious trust with your buyers. But in order to get serious trust with your buyers, you need to have reviews, and people need to be able to see those products in the first place. And if you can't get the sales to get reviews, you kind of get where I'm going with this. It's kind of a chicken and egg thing. We actually saw this ourselves. Yes, it's happened in physical products, but our physical product that we used to sell was a baby car seat cover, and it was about $14. It was about $14.99, $15.99, somewhere around there. But when competition comes in and people with more resources or people with more time or people with more trust in the marketplace can find a good product, then what they'll do is they'll just drop the price a little bit and they can price you out if they have additional additional resources. And that's not something that's unfamiliar in the digital product space as well. So if you're competing with somebody that can afford to drop their $6 product down to $5.50 and you're already tapped out in your margins, it's kind of hard to compete with that. Now, the third concern that I have with a lot of the strategies out there is scalability. You're doing this because you want to be able to retire. You're doing this because you want to be able to quit your job. You're doing this because you want to provide for your family. You want to do something big, right? And so you can't expect that you're going to be doing that with a $2, $3, or $4 product. And there's only a couple of things that you can do to truly scale a digital product business. And when I say scale, I don't mean over 4 or 5 years. I mean like a hockey stick, like hockey stick growth. Have you guys ever seen that, where it's like, you know, the bottom of the hockey stick where they hit with the puck? I don't play hockey, so I don't know what the terms are, but like the base or the bottom of the stick where you're actually slapping things, the face of it is very short like this, but then the actual stick and the handle that you're holding goes way up like that. And so that's the kind of growth and scalability that you want to be able to see. It's hard to do that through a marketplace. The two most common ways to do this are to just flip a switch and instantly turn on more sales, which if you could do that, you probably would have already. Or the other way is to just increase the price on your product. And if you listen to the second point in this video, you know why it's hard to sometimes increase the price when you have to constantly be decreasing it to be competitive. But let's just assume that you can in fact still raise the price in some way, right? So if you sell a $5 digital download and you sell 50 of them a month, then you have $250 in gross sales. And if you somehow add $2 to that price to go from $5 to $2 for, let's say, your Excel budgeting spreadsheet that you have, then you'll net an additional $100 for that month. That's not too bad. But if you need $5,000 or $6,000 a month in order to be able to quit your job, raising that price from $5 to $2 isn't going to do anything. We need to be able to 10x something like that, okay? So what is it that we need to actually do instead? What do we need to do to make sure that when we put an input, we get some type of scalable output out of it? And what is it that we need to do to make sure that we're not being price competitive? And what can we change to make sure that when we are doing this, it's not just a few dollars or a few $100 even, it has the potential to be thousands and tens of thousands. And so what is the catalyst for all of this change? How do we actually fix the fix and not just band-aid it? Well, you need a personal social media brand. Now I get it. Look, don't run away. Everyone wants to run away whenever they hear starting a personal social media brand, but that doesn't mean you need to show your kids, show what you're eating, tell people where you are, or dance on reels, or do things like that. That's not the point. What we're trying to do is to alleviate those 3 flaws and those 3 concerns when it comes to selling digital products online, and it's easy to do with social media. And so here's why social media fixes those things. Okay, the first thing is that social media gives you a way to have an input, okay? Unlike SEO or those other things, if you change things, there's no guarantee that there's going to be any output from changing them. But in order to get more leads, or in order to get more eyeballs on your products or your brand, all you got to do is post more. And I get it. Some people are like, but you have to rank and still do other things. But at least I can put up 500 posts a day. I'm not saying that we're going to do that, but if I put up 500 posts a day, I have a chance that I'm going to be able to rank. If I make 500 changes on a listing, there's no guarantee that the algorithm will ever pick that up. So you are literally in control of the fuel that you put onto the fire when it comes to lead flow for a digital product when you use a personal brand on social media. And so all you have to do is just create content that is related to the product that you're selling. You don't have to sit there and, like I said, dance or do viral reels, pranks, or things like that. That's not what social media is nowadays. Social media is just sharing your solutions to the problems that you've had with other people. You're just going to do that through your digital product. It's really easy to do. Now, the second thing that social media and having a personal brand does is it lets us to get rid of the need to be price competitive. So why do people pay more for Nikes, or why do people pay more for Adidas, or whatever kind of like running shoe people are using? I wear Mizunos usually, or Asics. So why do people go with like a Nike over an Adidas? Or why do they choose like an Asics over another type of running shoe? And there's like 47 different brands of running shoes that are out there. Well, they do it because of branding. And why can't Hermes charge $20,000 for a space handbag? You can get something that has other rocket ships on it on Amazon for like $19.99. It's because of the brand and its perceived value that the brand has established. You see, when people know about a brand and when they know about the brand's values and they know what the brand represents and they know what the brand does and what it means and all of the work that goes into the brand and the products, and there's a story that's built around these things, people are willing to pay more even if there's an equivalent same exact product that exists. And it's because they care more about that brand and that company. And when you try to sell something on Etsy, for example, that's hard to do without putting your face on there and having some type of brand next to your Etsy shop. Okay, it's hard to actually create that trust and hard to make it to where people are willing to pay 5, 10, 15, 20, or even like hundreds of dollars more for your product if there's no brand or values behind it. And so a generic no-name template is never going to not be price competitive. If you have a brand with a face, with a name, with values, and that helps people solve their problems so they have developed trust with you, people are going to be willing to pay whatever to be able to get your product or your services. And so the last thing is that social media allows you to scale at will. Again, the two things that you need to be able to scale are just increase your lead flow or increase your prices. And as you've seen, social media helps you do both. You want more lead flow, get more eyeballs, you want to be able to post more. It's easy to do to be able to increase the amount that's there when you're on social media, okay? And on the other side, if you feel like you need to be able to increase your prices or you need to create a new digital product that is instead of like a $7 template, maybe it's a $197 course or a $997 coaching program, you can do that if you have a personal brand because people know who it is that you are. People know what you're trying to do. People know what you're trying to help them with. People know where your values lie. So you have control over your brand. And that's also one other thing about staying away from marketplaces like Etsy is that you don't really have full control over that. If Etsy decides to shut down, Etsy will go ahead and shut down. If they want to turn off your store for some reason, they'll go ahead and turn it off. And so of course, if you are doing a personal social media brand, you can still drive traffic to Etsy. That's not a big deal. But the whole point of it is not to be completely reliant on it and think that these quick fixes that a lot of people talk about on YouTube nowadays are going to be the thing that makes you financially independent. And again, look, you don't have to be a vlogger. Okay? You don't have to be some kind of beauty vlogger, mommy vlogger, guru person to run a social media brand. Okay, that's not what this is. You don't have to show your kids. You don't got to show like where you live or the things that you do every day. You have to just create the content that people want to see that helps solve their problems that's related to your digital product. And if you can do that and show how that product has helped transform you, then maybe they'll want that same transformation as well. Okay, so there you have it. What do you guys think? I know lots of people are very against social media because they are against this like stigma of work and putting effort into something that has longevity to it. Everyone wants the quick fix and the quick hack, and that's not going to be the thing that changes your guys' lives. So if you got thoughts on this, I want to hear them. Put your thoughts down in the comments below. And again, if you want to be able to change your life, go check out our challenge, our 0 to 100K in 12 months with digital products challenge. Totally worth it. And I will see you guys in the next one.